In this presentation, let us understand the special data structure called tuples in Python. Tuples are very similar to lists. The similarity lies in the way we access the elements and the way we organize the elements. Both tuples and lists are ordered collection of elements, that means sequence of values, and the individual elements of tuples and lists are accessed with the help of index operator, means bracket operator. What is the difference? Difference lies in terms of modifying the individual elements. We know lists are mutable. That means we can change the individual elements of a list, whereas tuples are immutable. As a programmer, we are not allowed to modify individual element of a tuple, but there is a provision to replace one tuple from another. Let's start this chapter by looking at the different aspects of tuples, defining a tuple, how to access it, and then how to apply in a real world applications, and also how to use tuples as a composite key to solve the complex applications. As I said, tuple is a sequence of values, much like a list, and we can store different types of elements in a single tuple, and all these elements are indexed by integers or an expression which results in integer value. As I said, the difference is in terms of utility. The tuples are immutable, but also tuples are comparable and hashable. This helps us to sort different elements with the help of tuples, and also we can, since tuples are hashable, we can use tuples as a composite key in Python dictionaries to solve real world problems. So syntactically, a tuple is a comma delimited list of values. This is the one form of defining a tuple. Here we have defined a tuple with the elements as characters. We have 6 elements. We have a tuple with 6 elements, and it is not necessary that we have to define only the characters. We can also define the tuple with the help of a parenthesis. So this is a mechanism where we define a tuple with the parenthesis. A, B, C, D, E are the elements, and T is the tuple. So there are 2 ways to define the tuples. One is without parenthesis and one is with parenthesis. You can define a tuple. To create a tuple with the single elements, you have to include a final comma. This is compulsion. For example, if you want to create a tuple T1 with one element, if you just create a then it is considered as an expression with the value a. So in order to avoid this ambiguity at runtime, so we need to use a comma at the end of the first element. Now this is considered as a tuple because there is a comma at the end of the first element. If you don't put a comma, then it is t1 equal to a is considered as an expression. And you can also use a built-in function like a list and dictionary. We have a built-in function tuple with no argument. So this t equal to tuple with no argument to a tuple built-in function create an empty tuple with the, if the argument for the tuple built-in function is a sequence like a string or a list, then the elements of the sequence are considered as a tuple elements. Let's take up the example. Here we create a tuple t with the built-in function tuple, and the argument is a string. And this tuple built-in function now returns a tuple with the individual elements which are characters present in this string. And the result of this print t is results in a tuple. You can see the parenthesis with individual elements which are characters of this string. Since tuple built-in function, the name is a built-in name, and one should avoid using that name as a program element, user-defined program element like a variable name or a function name, etc. Most of the list operators also work on tuple. The first operator is an index operator. As I said, is used to access the individual element of a tuple. So here we have a tuple with 6 elements, and if you want to access first element, you write the index 0. T of 0 returns A. Similarly, T of 1 returns B, and so on. We can use the slice operator to select the range of elements in tuple. If we want the second and third element, then we have to write the slice as 1:3. That is the element at index 1 and index 2 are returned, and we get the result, the slice of a tuple, as B and C. If you try to modify the one of the elements of a tuple, you will get an error with the message object doesn't support item assignment. This is because tuples are immutable. At any point of time, we are not allowed to modify the individual elements of a tuple. If you want to modify the entire tuple, that means if you want to replace one tuple with another tuple, you can do so by using concatenation operator plus. So here is a one simple example. We have a tuple t with A, B, C, D, 6 elements. A is a small letter, and I want to replace a first letter with capital A. What I need to do is, you create a tuple with one element A with comma, and then you take a slice containing the tuple slice containing the elements from index 1, that is second element onwards. So this will create the tuple like this, capital A and B, C, D, E, etc. For example, if you want to add something else as a first element, then you can specify just a t equal to capital A and then t. This will create a tuple with 7 elements. You will get capital A, then small a, b, c, d up to e. And if you want to put this in the end, what you have to do is t is equal to t plus, you write this tuple. Then you can find a at the end. Now you have tuple elements which counts to 7. So likewise, you can change the entire tuple. Remember, you are not allowed to modify the individual elements of a tuple. Comparing the tuples. Comparison operator works with tuples, and the comparison always starts from the first element that is present in the sequence. If the first elements of two tuples are equal, then second element is compared, and so on until it finds the elements that differ. And once there are two elements in two different tuples differs in values, then all the subsequent elements will not be considered for comparison, even though the subsequent list is a big or a large. Let's take up example. Though we have two tuples here, first tuple with 0, 1, 2 and second tuple 0, 3, 4, and this is a relational expression. We use a comparison operator. This results in a value true because the element 0 is compared with 0. Yes, equal. Since it is equal, the second element is compared with second element, and now the values differ. 1 is less than 3. That's why this holds good. It returns true, and third element will not be compared at all. Let's take up this example. We have 0, 1 with the huge number here, and then 0, 3, 4. Again, this results in true because the second element 1 is less than 3 and first element is equal. Since it is possible to compare tuples, we can sort the tuples. And again, sort primarily sorts the list of tuples based on the first element. In case of tie, it sorts based on second element and so on. Since the comparison operator works on tuples, the concept of comparing tuples is being used to sort the composite data items by creating a tuple with the preceding values of the composite data, then sort the elements based on the tuple comparison, and then remove the tuples and extract the ordered composite data items. That is what the one application of tuples is, to have a DSU pattern. There's a programming pattern. What we are going to do is we decorate the composite data items, a data set, by using a tuple. Then we sort the composite data items based on the tuple comparison, and finally we extract only the interested composite sorted data items from the sequence. That is what we call as DSU. Decorate in the sense you create a tuple by taking few of the preceding elements of the complex data sequence. Then they sort the list of tuples involving these elements of a data sequence. Then finally extract only the sorted sequence of data elements, not the entire tuple. That's what we call it as undecorated. So DSU is one application where we can have the arrangements of complex data item based on the requirement. Let's take up one example. of sorting a list of words from longest to shortest. So this is one DSU related the problem. We have a list of words, the problem is given, a data sequence is given. What we have to do is we have to create a tuple with the existing data sequence. Then we sort in a descending order of the length of the word, because we want to sort the list of words from the longest to shortest, and then we just print the words, not the length. That's what undecorate. So I'll explain this a simple program. So this is a string containing list of words. We have a words here, many words. What I do is I just create a list of words called words. Words equal to text dot split. Split is I am going to split this string based on the space. That's why no parameter here. So I have a list of words now. So words is a list of words. Now I create another list T. Okay. So this list is nothing but a list of tuples. So I have now empty list. I do not know what type of list it is. I have created an empty list. Now I just append the element to the newly created list T by appending a tuple with the first element as the length of the word and the second element the word itself. And I have to create now list of tuples T for all the words present in the list called words, which I have already created. Words is a list of words, and for each word I am going to add into a list of tuples, that is T is a list of tuples. By appending a tuple, you can see one more parenthesis here. This is a parenthesis for append function, and inside there is one more parenthesis which indicates that I am appending a tuple having two elements. First element is the length of the word and the second element is the word itself. Once I have a list of tuples, I need to sort that list of tuples in the reverse order, descending order. That's why the sort function takes the parameter reverse is equal to true. Now these tuples are sorted first based on the length. If length is same, then it is based on the word comparison. Once this is sorted, what I have to do is I have to print the words. What I have to do is now I have to create one more list, empty list as a result, res result, and I need to put all these words which are sorted in the descending order of length into this list, new list called result. So for each word in list of tuples, that for each word with its length, that means for length comma word represent the tuple, entire tuple, the first element and the second element. For each tuple in list of tuple called T, you create another list called result and you put only the words. I am not interested in length, just the words. Now I have a list res having words which are sorted according to their lengths. So this is one typical example for DSU where we use a tuple as a way to arrange the set of elements in a particular order. One of the unique features of Python is the ability to have a tuple on the left side of an assignment statement. This feature allows us to assign more than one variable at a time when the left hand side is a sequence. Let's take up one example. So we have a M is a list. We have a square brackets, it represents the list. M is a list having two strings. I can assign these individual elements of a list, two elements, to two different variables x and y by just writing a statement x comma y equal to m. X comma y is a tuple of elements where element is a variable. You can say it is a sequence of variables, which is a tuple. On the right hand side we have a list, and the result of this statement is x holding first element, that is have, and variable y holds the second element of a list called fun. When we use a tuple on the left side of the assignment, we omit the parenthesis, but we can also use the parenthesis to represent a tuple. Here is an example. We have M is a list with two elements, and we have used a parenthesis to indicate it is a tuple of variables. So parenthesis is optional. You can just write xy or x and y comma y. You can enclose with the parenthesis. The one good application of tuple assignment is swapping of values without using any temporary variables. A single statement will swap the contents of two variables. This statement a comma b equal to b comma a swaps the contents of variables a and b. We can see here in this expression a and b is a tuple. Left hand side is a tuple of variables, and right hand side is a tuple of expression. How the tuple of variables gets the value of tuple of expressions? You know, the expressions are evaluated before the assignment, so and the associativity is from left to right. So first this expression, so we have expression with only one variable, that's it. This expression is evaluated, and the value of this expression evaluation is stored in the temporary variable by the interpreter. And similarly, the second expression is evaluated, and the result of evaluation is stored in the temporary variable by the interpreter. After evaluating these expressions on the right hand side, that means tuple of expressions, these values of temporary variables which corresponds to the tuple of expressions are assigned accordingly. The first variable in the tuple of variables gets the value of the first expression in the tuple, and the b gets the value of the second expression, and so on. And one thing we have to note is the number of variables on the left hand side and the number of values on the right hand side must be the same, otherwise we receive an error. More generally, we can have any kind of sequence on the right hand side. We can have a string, we can have a list, or even we can have a tuple. Let's take up one more example to create a tuple of variables. Let's say we have a email address. Email address normally contains two parts. One is the username and second one is a domain name, and these two parts are separated with the symbol at. At is the symbol. Let's take up the email address as monty@python.org, and with one statement of a tuple multiple variable assignment with the split operation, I can assign the username to one variable and as well as domain name to the another variable with one statement. So username comma domain equal to address dot split with the split character at. So what this split function does is, split function returns a list of words that are separated with at. So we have one string having at, only one at symbol, and definitely this returns a list having two strings, Monty and python.org, and the first list item is assigned to username and the second list item is assigned to domain. Dictionaries have a method called items, which returns a list of tuples where each tuple element is a key value pair. Let's take up one example. We have a dictionary D with three elements having keys A, B, C with values 10, 1 and 22. And now I use items method which is associated with the dictionary. So the statement list of d dot items creates a list of tuples where each element of a tuple represent a key value pair. The first element in a tuple is a key, the second element in a tuple is a value. Now we have a T is a list containing elements which are tuples, and each tuple has key value pair of the dictionary. The result of this T is, we have first element which is a tuple in a list, in the second element second tuple, and third tuple, key followed by a value. The items function method will not generate the tuples in any particular order. So once we have a list of items, we can sort the tuples present in the list as the tuples are comparable. Let's take up one example of converting the given dictionary items into a list and then sorting the list based on the keys of a. Take up a dictionary with three elements, D with the three elements, and D dot items will create a list of tuples having key value pairs. I have a T with a list of tuples having key value pairs. Then we sort. So by default it is ascending order. Reverse is equal to true is not written here. Ascending order. Then finally you print the list of tuples. Now we have a result with the list of tuples where each tuple is sorted according to the key of a dictionary. So A, B, C are the keys. This is one application where we can sort the dictionary items based on the keys, and we can use the sorted dictionary key value pairs for particular application or for particular requirement. We can combine the items method, tuple assignment, and for control statement to traverse keys and values present in a dictionary with a single for statement. Assume that we have a dictionary D with keys and values, and we are interested to print the keys and values. Remember, the items method, which is associated with the dictionary D, creates a list of tuples having key value pairs. The list items, that means tuples, have no predefined order. All these tuples are arranged in the hash order of the dictionary. With this statement, for key comma value, we have a tuple here assignment, and we have a items method. For each key and value, there is a tuple that is present in the list of tuples. Print the key and value, or print value or key for each of the items. We see there are two iteration variables, key and value, because the list is a tuple having two elements, and on every iteration both key and value are advanced to the next key value pair in the dictionary, that means in the list of tuples as per the hash ordering. Let's take up one more scenario of combining items method, for statement, and tuple assignment. We are interested in printing the dictionary elements in the descending order of the values present in the dictionary, not based on the keys. How to use these three language constructs to generate the sorted dictionary items based on the values? What we have to do is, first we have to create a list of tuples with the help of items method by storing the value and a key in the list of tuples, not key and value. Value is the first element and key is the next element. Once we have a value as the first element followed by key in each of the tuples of the list of tuples, we can sort the list of tuples in the descending order, and then finally you print the elements of the list. Now we have a dictionary items which are sorted not based on the keys, based on the values. This is the program segment. We have three items in the dictionary, key value pairs. We create a empty list of tuples, empty list, and for each key and value in the d dot items will generates a list of tuples, key comma value pairs. I need to read key value pair of each of the items in the dictionary, Insert that key value per tuple. You can see the parenthesis here. Insert the tuple as value comma key. The first element is the value, second element is a key. By this, we are going to create a list of tuples called L, where each tuple has two elements, value followed by key. Once we have this list of tuples with value and key, sort this list in the reverse order. First, tuples are sorted based on the values. If values are same, then they are sorted based on the keys. And finally, you print the result and list after sorting. We will get the result in the descending order of values. So we have a 22, 10, 1, and accordingly their key values. So by carefully constructing the list of tuples to have the values as the first element of each tuple, we can sort the list of tuples and get our dictionary content sorted by value. Similarly, we can sort the dictionaries based on the keys by storing the keys as a first element followed by a value. Consider the problem of printing 10 most common words present in a given text file. Assume that we have a text file containing lines, and each line consists of words separated with spaces, comma, and other special characters. How to print 10 most common words present in a file? What we have to do is, first we open a file in a read mode, create an empty dictionary wherein key is the word and the value is a frequency of appearance of that word in the file. Once we have a dictionary of words, we create a list of tuples having value and key of a dictionary by generating a list of key and value pairs through items method. Once we have a list of tuples with value and key, where value is the frequency of occurrence of a word and the key is the word, let us sort the list of tuples in the descending order of value, because value is the first element in the tuple. And then we print the sorted list. We print only the first 10 elements of the list. We will take up a slice from 0 to 9 of that list. We get the first 10 elements. Let me explain this program. We import a string because we have to translate that string in order to delete the punctuations and other characters. We open a file in a read mode, initialize a dictionary called counts, empty, and for each line that is being read from the file having a file handle fhand, remove all the punctuations by translating this line with the removal of punctuation. I have already explained this method, translate. And then we convert all the letters in the line after removing the punctuation to a lower case, because we are considering the words which are case insensitive, the frequency of words. Convert the line of letters to lower case, and now we create a list of words present in the line by splitting the line with the delimiter word boundary space. So now I have a list of words. Put these words which are present in the list of words into the dictionary. If that word appears for the first time, put a word into a dictionary with the frequency of occurrence 1. If that word has already appeared, increment the value at a dictionary location with the key word. This has to be done for all the words present in the given line, as well as for all the lines present in the file. We have to do this for all the words present in the line, and removing the punctuation and converting it to lower case, creating a list of words has to be done for all the lines up to here. Once this is done, we have a dictionary which is ordered based on the hash value, having a key which is a word and the value representing the frequency of occurrence. Now we need to create a list of tuples. We create a empty list by using a built-in function list, and we combine tuple assignment, counts method, and for statement to create a list of tuples where each tuple is of the form value and key. So for each key and value which is found in the list, it is generated with the counts.items list. What we have to do is you append the key and value in the order of value and key. For each of the items of a dictionary, counts is a dictionary, counts.items, for each of the items, get the key and value and put it in a list of tuples with the tuple value and key. Once this is done, we have a list of tuples where each tuple of the form value and key, we sort the list of tuples in the reverse order of value first, and if value is same, then it is based on the word. Upon sorting, we print the words, nothing but a key, and its frequency of occurrence of first 9. So here you can write 10 means you will get 9, first 9, 0 to 9, 0 to 9, 9 and 0 to 9, 10 elements are printed with this for statement with the key followed by value. You can even use a formatted output statement by giving a meaningful message for a word and its frequency. Explained in this slide step by step. We can use tuples as keys in dictionary. If you want to create a composite key having multiple values in a dictionary, we must use a tuple of values as a key. One potential example for this dictionary with the composite key is a telephone directory. Suppose we want to map a telephone number to a person having last name, first name and middle name. How to store the number based on last name and first name and middle name? We need to create a dictionary, not with single key, because we are mapping a number, telephone number, to 3 different names: last name, first name and second name, that means middle name. One solution is we create a dictionary with composite key involving these 3 elements: last name, first name and middle name. Here you can see we create a telephone directory, for example with 2 keys, where keys with the name last, that is a last name, and first is a first name. Similarly, you can have one more element here as a middle name, middle, and we are storing that telephone number as a value. This is how we can have a composite key. So this composite key has 2 elements. Likewise, we can have 3 elements. And once we have a directory with the last, first and middle, we can sort these telephone numbers based on the last name, or even we can sort it based on the first name by creating the list of tuples, which are obtained from the items method of the dictionary. How do we traverse the dictionaries having composite keys? Again, we can use a tuple assignment with the for statement. For the tuple, the 2 for iteration variables or control variables. One is for the first element in the tuple, and this is for the second element in the tuple. For each of the items in the tuple, for each of the tuple in the directory, this is a dictionary, print these keys. This is element key 1, key 2 and actual value at the directory, by specifying the composite key. This is a composite key which is a tuple, last followed by first. This is how we can traverse the dictionary with the composite keys. We use a tuple assignment, a set of tuple variables as a for iteration variables, and we fetch the value at that particular composite key, which is constituted with the 2 elements, last and first. These are the few simple exercise programs. First one is already solved in this presentation, and second problem is to read a file having first column USNs and 6 columns with marks, and 7th column the total marks. So we are interested here in reading a USN and the total marks. You don't have to read other things. What you have to do is read line by line and split based on the space, and read first item and the 6th item, that means total marks, and you create a dictionary. USN is a key and the value is a marks. Then create a list of tuples, USN and marks and USN. Then put it in a descending order, sort in a descending order, and then you print. you have a solution. This is also explained in this PPT, and this is another very simple program creating a dictionary with the two elements where key is the number and the value is the square of that number. And this is another file related program, files with the tuples and lists. You read a text file with having 4 columns: first name, last name, age and balance. 4 columns. Read a file line by line. Create a dictionary with the composite key, first name and last name, first name and last name. Okay. With the value again tuple having age and balance. So you need to create a dictionary with the composite key, last name and first name and last name, and the value again it's a tuple with age and balance. And then you create a list of tuples having all these keys and values, composite keys as well as composite values, and sort based on first name and last name, and accordingly it is sorted even age and balance if you have a same name, which is normally not possible. Sort this in alphabetically, just apply a sort function and then print the list of tuples. You will have a solution. So these are the links for further reading. You will find a lot of other information on tuples, how to use tuples with the lists, and how to use tuples as a keys in a dictionary, and how to traverse the tuples along with the dictionaries, etc. Thank you.